Hello, beautiful human. Thanks for clicking on our conversation with Why Don't We? They have a brand new album out. It is called The Good Times and the Bad Ones. Link in the description below. If you haven't listened to it, the guy should be here at any second, but please leave your honest feedback in the comment section below. Hit like if you like the video, and even if you hate us, please subscribe. Okay, yeah, they're here.
Let's do this. Zach Show.
Well,
Let's
hello
go.
there. Beautiful human. We got Dan here. We got me, and we got Why Don't We?
Hey,
Guys, good.
From a studio that is home to a part of the album, but not the full thing.
right.
So excited to hang out with y'all. How do you feel now that it's out?
Oh
crazy.
man,
I'm
it's kind of it just is weird. It's like here we are.
It's
This
like,
is-
shoot, dog.
this
It's not
is-
the typical album release, but it's a good one. I
It's
wish
good.
we were.
Yeah, I really wish we were in studio right now.
I wish we. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I, wish we were with you.
love the couch at your studio with the
I know.
pillows.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so nice.
Ariana Grande like touch that pillow. That's
What?
crazy.
Why
What are
did
you
you pull
doing?
that out?
The couch misses you, by the way. But it is different. But this album is different too. It is. Would you say the most genuine body of work y'all have put out into the world?
Oh,
That
yeah.
is exactly
Yeah,
what I would
100%.
say.
By far.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's very.
We're super
dear
proud
to
of it.
us. It's our baby boo boo.
We crafted this album in a way that we wanted it
Yeah,
to be, you know?
it's the first music that we've ever put out that comes entirely from us. The writing, the production, the melodies, the track list, everything is straight from us. So yeah, it's been a little high pressure in some sense. But this is, as a band, all you can really hope for is that one day you write and produce your own music and the world accepts it. And that's how it's feeling so far, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Why now? Why were y'all ready?
We're always writing. Why now? Honestly,
The time.
it had to be now. It was supposed to be 4 months prior, and then COVID hit, and that's just something you can't control, and you got to be safe, and you got to respect other people's safety and health, and so we couldn't finish the album. We had we had most of it all written, but you had to record it, and that was the curveball that was thrown at us. But yeah, I think the second we were able to put music out again, we were like, let's do it.
But also like we were just writing so much like on the road. We'd finish the show and then it's either like you go to sleep or you go in the back of the bus, write a song, or you watch a movie or whatever it is. But it was like one of the few options that we were able to do on the road. So we just got way down the rabbit hole and writing a ton all the time. And actually, Zach, you were one of the people who gave us a lot of confidence. I remember we were at a radio show. Was it in Memphis? I think it was. But we were backstage and we played you a bunch of the stuff, and you were like, "This
Oh,
is
man.
really good, guys." And like,
What a night.
just like having people around us telling us that it was really good, and not having it out in the world, and only having stuff that other people had written for us out in the world. It was like, I think we should get some of this out there. So that's what started the conversation.
Yeah.
By the way, it was very cool to hear the songs that you played backstage at that arena in Memphis, and hearing it on the album. It felt not only full circle, but also at the same time, it feels just very true to you. And I don't know, it just hits
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
in a plethora of different ways. So when did this album actually start? Was it 2 years ago?
3 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
been a long
this
time
boy
coming.
been growing up. Yeah, he's a little
Yeah.
3-year-old dude. Like,
We just went through a lot of time while we were touring where we didn't feel like we had the time to even sit down and perfect the music that we had been working on, or even really work on our craft in a proper setting. But also, again, just back to the confidence thing. We were writing, and for a while, we had written probably 50 to 100 songs, and we hadn't even showed our management. We hadn't showed our label. We hadn't really showed anybody, just because we were like, this is the stuff we're doing in the back of the bus. Like, I don't know if it's good or not. And so, again, you were like one of the first people that we actually like played stuff for and wanted to get an opinion from. And yeah, from there the fire started, and our fans kind of caught on, and
Oh.
we had played some stuff, some early stuff for a couple fans way back, just to kind of get their opinion and pick their brain a little bit, and they were also very much like, we can kind of tell, especially by the end of our last tour, we can kind of tell that you guys might not be doing everything that you want to be doing. And when we played them the music, they were like, "You guys got to put this stuff out. Like
Yeah.
this stuff feels so genuine and so you." And so yeah, shout out to our fans because they really inspired that as well.
It just hit, I was thinking about it today as I was listening to the album a few times. I was like, everything else was so good, but it was so polished. And this is polished in a different way. You know what I mean? Like this
Yeah.
is this is perfect, but like there's still room for personality, and it just, I don't know. It just, it's different.
Different,
Not a
man.
knock at anything else that you've put out. What do you
Yeah.
take with you? Sorry, you go.
No, I was just agreeing with you. I was saying because you said not a knock on anything we've put out, and like we've also been trying to be very clear on that sense too. Like we don't want to rag on any of our old stuff because our old stuff is our foundation.
Come
and
on,
like
Friends.
we-
Every rager I
yeah,
could be at, I
eight
put on
letters.
Friends.
8 Letters sent us on a world tour, and that is something that's crazy in and of itself. But yeah, it was very polished, and it was manufactured, and a lot of it was like in conjunction with our label, and we had a lot of A&R meetings with executives and stuff about how do we go forward. And quite frankly, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even I don't think we were prepared to even write our own album or even go out on a limb like that. We just hadn't grown up in that way yet, and the quarantine I think really helped that because we finally had the time to sit down and have the conversation amongst ourselves, like who do we want to be, like what mark do we want to leave on the world, and what impression do we want to give people about ourselves. And we figured, I mean, we might as well just give them the most honest version of ourselves we can. We
Give 'em
haven't
the real thing.
really 100% done that.
Yeah.
So was this reinvention planned out, or did you guys come together and talk about it, or it just kind of happened naturally as you guys got older and mature?
We talked a lot about
I think we were.
who we were prior, and I would say we found success before our identity, which isn't always the case, and it's a blessing, I really do think. But we were definitely in an identity crisis. It was like one song would be, way more on the top 40 pop spectrum, and the next one would be an R&B record, and the next one would be alternative. It was like we were just shooting out kind of equally what we thought would be good and what the label was saying would be good. And we were just kind of like in the midst of this on tour, and it was tough because we're having all the success, but equally we were so busy that we couldn't really figure out who is Why Don't We. And so for us, COVID, in a weird way, there was some silver lining there of like we had to sit down for a little bit, even if we didn't want to, or if management wanted us to go out and tour more or anything like that. We had to sit down and just relax for a second. I think it just, all those thoughts came forward now, and we were like, wow, we can really, be who we want to be when we get back out there. And now we're just waiting for the day we can actually, get back out there.
Yeah. And the hiatus was good because in addition to that, it also allowed us to be gone for a second and then come back with something very strong that we were very passionate about in a very big way, and that was Fallen. And Fallen was our kick the door down single, like, hey, this is really Why Don't We, and we're capable of this, and we do this. We just haven't really gotten a chance to show you yet. Yeah.
Do you figure out your identity before you start making music, or only after you start creating, like finish the album?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
You find it in so many outlets. You find it in who you're listening to, obviously, like what sticks out to you. You find it in, for us, we found it in our fans a lot too, because it was equally, I've heard this advice before, but it's like when you write a song, write one for you and one for the fans, so that you find a balance. And so we definitely took into consideration, like, what do our fans gravitate towards, and that was part of figuring out the sound. But then it came down to, I guess, just, like experimenting. We haven't had any time to do that. I think the first song that started to go in like a cool direction was Love Song. That was the first one that started to go into this like alternative glam pop rock world. That was really cool, and we were like, oh,
Yeah, I remember
sounding crazy.
Daniel came over to my house and we were having a party. This is before COVID. And I'd had a few drinks. He pulled up and he's like, yo, I have this crazy song I just wrote today. And we went out to his car and he played it, and I was like, it was so sick. That moment was really cool. But I remember thinking it was so far like out of left field at the time. Like it wasn't even a thought that we could put that out. And so I was like, oh, we should give this to like five seconds of summer, or like someone like that, like they would kill this. Like,
I
but
think
like
we actually tweeted them.
yeah, we tweeted them and we're like, yo, we have a song.
Yeah, and then over time we started making more songs like that, and I'll Be Okay is very similar to Love Song, and all these songs started like forming this album, and we were like, damn, this is a dope album if it could come out.
Yeah, it just started to.
And the last piece of the cake is obviously like our team, our label, our management, and luckily our fans really trust us, and we knew they'd be on board, and that's I think that in itself is a blessing. That's not always the case, but they're so open-minded.
It was great to get Atlantic's approval as well.
Yeah, they did approve of it, which was like, we did it.
That was a crazy
We've done
day
it.
because Atlantic hadn't heard anything, and we made the whole album and we recorded the whole thing, and then we sent it to our label, and it was this crazy like moment of truth. And then they listened to it, and it was just like, I remember we got an email from Craig, the chairman of Atlantic, that was just like, you guys are amazing. This is crazy. I didn't know you guys were capable of this. And that was like one of the most validating days.
I was in tears, but
We were like, if the chairman of our label doesn't know we could do this, the world definitely doesn't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
well, yeah, we were at a Shawn Mendes concert.
He said the same thing, kind of. He was
Chicago,
like,
Boston.
Atlanta.
Atlanta. We Sean was really nice. He got us in like this really great seating, and after the show, we talked to him for like an hour, and I remember he basically said, you do all the interviews and the meet and greets and all that stuff for that moment of getting on stage. That's like the best part of the day, and all the tiring work that you do all day pays off when you hit that stage. And if you don't love what you're doing on stage, then it will start to not feel
it
worth
was like,
it.
then what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, and we were like, yeah, you're right. We really want to play instruments on stage. And he was like, you guys play instruments? And we were like, we got a lot of work to do.
We heard that a lot. We heard a lot of people being like, y'all play instruments?
But, when we were in our own world, we just figured our fans knew, so everyone knew, but not even a lot of fans knew,
The truth is, even I didn't know to a certain degree, and what ended up happening was, I remember bringing it up in an interview. And I've seen you guys perform a lot. I mean, not like I don't want to brag, but I've seen you perform a ton of times. I'm a fan. So
I love you.
Love back. Shawn Mendes sets you on this want to bring live instruments into the fold, and that gets you crafting music differently, knowing that you want to bring that out.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And the whole album was written and produced for a live tour. It's very live instrument driven, which is very different than a lot of the stuff that we've done in the past. There's a lot of pianos, a lot of synth keys, a lot of guitars, and stuff like that it calls for all of that on stage. And so it's a bit unfortunate that we can't actually get out on the road and play it. But I mean, the music is great, and that's all that we could ask for right now,
Hey, beautiful human, I'm hitting pause on our conversation with Why Don't We to tell you about my favorite place for my pet and me, PetSmart. I'm slightly obsessed, and I am obsessed with my dog. The truth is, my Lou, my tiny French bulldog, is really the only reason I've been able to keep going during this entire pandemic. Some days he's the only reason I smile. So spoiling him has been a priority, and treating him proper is always very important, and PetSmart has allowed me to do it in a bunch of different ways. I can go to the store and know that they are following all the CDC guidelines. Everything is clean. There's the plexiglass dividers, all that stuff. Plus, the associates at PetSmart are so nice. They give Lou a treat. They give him love. and it makes my heart smile. PetSmart is my place. I love it because they love us. Seriously. And they make it easy and effortless to get the things that I need for the one who loves me the most, my dog Lou. PetSmart.com. Go there, pick up and drop off, curbside available. Also free delivery now through January 30th, powered by DoorDash. PetSmart.com.
Why haven't you been playing playing instruments in the past? Were you not allowed?
Sort of.
Yeah, so
Kind-
there's
yeah,
a couple,
kind of.
couple reasons. I mean,
Some
one
there
was
like-
time.
Wasn't enough money to do it.
Yeah, there was budget concerns for a while,
There was-
which was kind
we
of
were
dumb, but-
definitely upset about it
Yeah.
for a long time. You know, we were
And
like,
it's not how like we started. Like it's not how
Yeah.
like, the first tour was. You know, so I feel like
definitely felt like in a weird way we kind of had to
yeah.
hit choreo. We had to like
Mhm.
fit this
But-
mesh of what
Yeah,
boy
but
bands,
ultimately
boy
that's
band
like-
formula.
Ultimately, that's not what we felt comfortable with. You know, and I
Mhm.
think that like I'm not a dancer. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not what I
but
do.
again, fans were the ones that, that's where it got tricky. Is we thought we had to do this really to please them, and then they were the people to come to us and say, "We know that this isn't you. Just be you. That's all we want to see." And so
Yeah.
that was that was a really really dope moment.
I
to
do
just-
think that like hitting choreo and like it gave us a lot of stage presence, which is a good thing. And I think in the future, like when we tour, I think we'll probably incorporate some of that into the show as well. Like I don't think it would be like the best thing if we were just stuck behind our instruments the whole show. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I don't. No regrets, bro. Like, yeah, we did the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all play live on this album, or how did you put these records together?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
played live on a good amount of the album.
Mhm. For some of it, we had like some expert professionals come in and like really lay down like some really saucy stuff just for the sake of it being a studio quality piece of work. But yeah, we've been in rehearsals and whatnot, and it's sounding really great. We've been having so much fun just like actually getting in and playing the records, and it feels different. And we haven't been able to do it in front of a crowd at all, but even just in the rehearsal space, it feels different. Actually playing these songs and performing them than
Yeah,
than it has
they're
in
meant
the
to be
past.
live for sure.
And yeah, it's so fun, man. And in the same right, how it feels new to us and to our fans and probably to the world. But we're also throwing it back to our roots, like we're taking it back to what we grew up doing. We grew up solo artists playing guitar and keys and doing YouTube covers on it all and, producing loops and that whole thing. So we're really taking it back to the place that we started,
We're just throwing
which
it back.
which is interesting as well.
What is it like arranging a performance like this? And it's
Oh.
songs that you've made 100% on your own.
Yeah, it was really cool, especially on the song "Gray." That it's like kind of the ballad of the album. But it was right before COVID hit, and we got Studio A at Capitol Records for the day, and we had was it a 22-piece orchestra or 18-piece orchestra in there, and it was like the most insane feeling to a song that we wrote completely. Yeah, this is the score of it that they played. I don't know, it's super bright, but
So
It
everybody's
was
in the
really
the
crazy.
studio. We've got cellos, bass, stand-up bass, and violins, and all this crazy stuff, and they're all playing the sheet music to Gray, and there's a conductor in there doing the whole. It was like, whoa, this
Pretty
feels huge.
epic.
The strings hit in such an emotional way. I read that that's
love 'em.
Zach's favorite from the album.
Gray?
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's not that I hate it. I think it's just I love the lyrics and I love everything about it. Like, it's definitely not. Is that bad that I just said that?
No, the internet lied. It's okay.
No, because it's not like I don't think I would consider it my favorite because I like more upbeat songs. That's just how I am. I think my favorite as of right
know your
now. I
favorite.
mean, it changes every day. I'll Be Okay is my favorite right now.
Yeah,
But
that was a
Gray,
bop.
Gray is still I think the best written song on the album.
Yeah.
Who were you speaking to in Gray? And how does that song begin?
that song. Who are we speaking to? Did you ask?
Yeah, because it does sound like you're talking to one person or a group of people.
Yeah, that song is about just like a really kind of low point right after a relationship, and feeling like you might have messed up, and it's not a great time, and I think it was cool to incorporate that into the song. I don't know.
How does that work? Does somebody go through something and then you go to Daniel and you kind of dissect it? What is the process like?
Yeah,
It just
we
sort of
wrote that
formed.
together.
Yeah, me and Daniel wrote that summer 2019, I think. And we had a session booked that day with Michael Pollock, who's an amazing writer. And I remember our A&R called us and we're like, hey, we have the studio for a couple hours beforehand if you guys want to get in. We're like, all right, free studio, let's go. Like, that sounds fun. And so we pulled up and that song came out. And then Michael Pollock pulled up for the session and we had the song done, and he was like, what were you guys working on? And we played it for him and he was in tears by the end of it. And it was just like this crazy moment of like, wow, this must be really good. Like, we got to fight for this music. And that was a really cool moment. And yeah, definitely some personal stuff in that one.
Does it get easier sharing these personal antidotes? Because I feel like each song is a personal antidote.
Yeah, I think for a while we were really in this headspace of being, I would say, too closed off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there was a bit of like this, like we had a bit of like boy band training, as like every band does, and I think we were kind of taught to be more closed off than we should be as artists.
Mm-hmm.
As stars, it could be great, but I think we, with this album, really were like, we want to be artists more than anything else. We want, and the best art is the most honest art. You know, I was just listening to Olivia Rodrigo's new song, and talk about an honest song. You know, it's every lyric just is so real, and that song is beautiful. And I think that's where, with every song on this album, we wanted to come from was just like, it felt weird. It felt like very against the rules in our brains, you know, to write
Like,
about.
oh, we're gonna write about actual things that
We're
have
gonna write
happened
about
to
people
us.
we've loved
Yeah.
and people we've hated and people, you know, like it felt like some like shameful thing to do, or not shameful. That's a big word to use, but yeah, it didn't feel like the right thing to do. But equally, we were like, this is what is, you know, it was more of a journal than like a song we thought we were coming out with when we wrote them. And now here we are coming out with them, and you know, fans are like, "Oh, this one means so much to me." Versus like it just sounds good, you know.
And
I think that's new for us.
That's a lot more like payoff, at least for me too, as an artist, knowing like, okay, I went through something, then wrote about it, and it's actually out in the world helping other people go through the same thing that I did. Like, and knowing that, you know, they're not alone in that. I think that's really cool.
I think a song that really captures that is "Be Myself."
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
That's my favorite. That and Love Song. I've been
Yeah, those are
vibing.
another thing I read on the internet, so correct me if I'm wrong, did that song start with a conversation between Jack and Daniel?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Jack and everyone
Yeah, It was
actually.
Jack and everyone.
We all just sat down and Jack kind of
This was
laid
like
it
during
out.
COVID,
It was-
right when COVID kind of started. Well, no, after like we were taking a second away from each other for like 2 months,
Mhm.
we ended up seeing each other again.
I don't
Met
think
up
we'd
right back in
ever-
this room.
I don't think we'd ever been anxious around each other until that day.
Yeah, it was weird.
We went from like the high of touring together to like being home away. We hadn't been separated from each other in 3 years.
Yeah.
For a single day,
Yeah.
like literally, it was
Yeah.
like. So yeah, it was like weird not seeing each other that long, and then suddenly catching up in like normal life, like reality. Like we weren't
Remembering
out-
like, oh, we
Yeah.
are a band.
yeah, like it was, but I don't know. It was just like we didn't even like know what to talk about because we honestly had done everything together already.
Yeah.
In those 3 years, we lived so much life
Oh
that it
my
was
God,
like, what do you talk about when you've traveled the world together, played for thousands of people, literally been in just about every situation that you could think of together, every day, 25/8, and then. Yeah, you don't see each
And then
other
not
for
be each other-
a
each
month or
other for-
two.
yeah.
Yeah, what do you talk about? Like, it was weird.
So Jack came in that day, and he kind of just opened up about how he was feeling, how anxious he was, and it's weird because we all like felt the same way.
Yeah.
And like we were all like, dude, like we feel you 100%. Like it's been so weird. And yeah.
And it was such a good way, I think, for us to get back into the swing of things together too. Like after not seeing each other, one of the first conversations we had was like just about how we've been feeling over the break. And although it was a negative conversation, you know, about like anxiety and you know, feeling that and sadness and whatever, it was, I think, on a positive note, it brought us back to that space of like, yeah, like we're brothers and we can talk to each other about this. We should talk to each other about this.
Was it hard at first, Jack, to bring that up, or did you know that you know they were the people that you? could-
Honestly, it was weird for me because like it was like I felt so like scared every day that I was just to the point where I was like I just want to like ask someone about it, like to because I would look on Google all the time like why do I feel this feeling? Why do I feel this feeling? I freak
Bro,
myself
Google
out.
makes it worse.
Yeah.
WebMD.
And
You're about to die.
literally, like it was like anything I looked up though, they're like, oh, it's just anxiety. I'm like, why is anxiety like this? So I ended up, you know, going to the guys and I'm like, yo, like it's honestly really hard for me to like go to the studio because I'm like always like in my head thinking I'm like about to die.
Yeah,
Like,
you were saying you couldn't even drive. Like
yeah,
it was-
like I couldn't drive. Like it scared me to drive because I would like just experience some weird things
and,
in
like,
my head.
Dude,
But
even you can't discredit too. Like, there's really a high to being on tour and playing for people every night and being looked at in that way. I don't know if is it called serotonin or what is the like. There's a drug in your the
Dopamine or
dopamine level.
yeah,
No,
whatever.
dopamine. I read this whole article. I think Sean talked about it, and I looked into the doctor that he was talking to, and your dopamine levels go skyrocketing, like way more than they should. And it does. It's like a high, and the come down is pretty crazy. Like we went from literally touring, you know, 3 years straight, playing shows every night. Like you're in this like world where time doesn't exist. Nothing really matters out there, which I don't know if that's good or bad, you know, but you come back home and reality just smacks you in the face. Like, you know, it's so cliche, but you're doing your laundry and you're just like, so like, what is
Whoa.
going on? Like,
yeah.
it hits you in the weirdest ways, but,
Well, it's really easy on tour to like completely, like things will come up if it's anxiety or you know feeling sad or you know thinking about certain things, and it's so easy to just kind of like push that right back down because you have something to go do. It's like, oh, I can run off to go do meet and greet and then our show, and then a promoter wants to take us out and we're in Barcelona tonight. Like this will be awesome, and then you don't have to think about it, and it just is this continuous thing, and all of a sudden you're a year down the road, and you're like, whoa. What
There's
is
a lot
life?
piling
And
up.
then you hit quarantine, and it's like a whole different thing. So I think that's what that whole conversation was of like.
Does music at all help you manage anxiety, or
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not really a solvable problem. I mean, it is, I guess, for some people, but it's more of a management thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Like, cause with Be Myself, Daniel came to the studio and like showed us, and I hadn't listened to the lyrics really. I was listening to melodies and like production, and I was like, "Yo, this is so dope." But then Daniel sent it to us to listen to, and on my way home, I started playing it, and I was like, I listened to the lyrics, and I realized like it was literally everything I was going through, and I started like crying, cause I'm like, "Holy, like this is like crazy." And I went to Daniel the next day, and I went up to him, and I hugged him. I was like, "Yo, thank you for writing this." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I wrote it about you." And then,
Beautiful.
yeah, and I was
No,
like,
because it brings you closer together, right?
"Oh yeah,
oh, for
totally."
sure.
And then it was just crazy because I'm like, "Well, I love my bandmate."
No,
Jack-
yeah, it was like a different closeness. Like we've been close in a way where like when you're on tour, we all equally don't have to give a
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, and then being home, we all equally had to figure out, you know, what to care about and who to care about together. And that was like a whole different. We hadn't been
Whole
close in
different
that
thing,
way, you know. That was new for us, but I think it. For every artist, I think they could agree it in a weird way. It was really good for everyone.
Oh
Super
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Jack, I was gonna ask. You seemed so happy when you were in Hawaii with your daughter. Does the feeling of anxiety kind of get lifted when you're there, or do you still have it
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're?
Yeah,
it
that's
does.
what you said, huh?
Yeah, it's because at the start, like I was going through a lot of personal stuff at the beginning of the year, with just like trying to see my daughter and stuff because COVID hit, and I think like in the back of my brain I was just like super like sad that I couldn't see her and it was like stressing me out. So we finally like figured out how I can like go see her every month now, and it's been so good. Like I can watch her grow rather than just like not see her for a few months, and she's like so much bigger.
Damn.
It's like crazy, but like now she's like talking and walking, and it's ridiculous.
Walking and talking.
She's a human now, like
Yeah.
a real one.
We
Like,
haven't
just-
gotten to see her in a
like-
really long time,
I
but
know.
he always FaceTimes us all like when he's with her, and it's the
Yeah.
best.
I
She's
wanna
always
see
like,
her.
"Hello."
Yeah,
She's like,
It's like,
hello.
Hello. Bike.
Yeah.
Bike.
She the other day she goes, "That's the bike."
Gaga.
Being a part of that and being able to watch this human being that you created grow and turn to a real life person that can do things, it's pretty remarkable, and it changes the way you look at life, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Like it hit me today pretty crazy because I was like, because I'm looking at this ring. I got this ring for Christmas. My mom got it for me, and it has her birthday on it. It says 4/22/19. And I was looking at it. I was showing Casper, our photographer. You guys know him. And I was like, holy shit, like April is right around the corner. Like she's about to be 2 years old. Like my own daughter is about to be 2.
That's crazy.
Like that like trips me out
Imagine
so
your
much.
daughter being 10.
I know. That's what
That should be crazy.
It's not that far
I know. John was like, "Yo, just wait." Like you have no idea.
I can't wait till she can like come to our shows and like
Oh my.
actually like understand what's going on.
Dude, what the heck? Imagine
It's
your
so
daughter being
crazy.
like 15.
No,
That's crazy
Lav.
to think about. Like, we'll all be like
That'd be
30,
so
right?
yeah.
Damn,
When she's 15, I'll be like
that's crazy.
34 or something. 36. I don't know. I can't do math. This is
I-
why I am an artist.
I want to keep going track by track here because I want to really go through the entire album. It's so good. For You,
I love you.
where does that song start?
That started.
Dallas on the Jingle Ball tour.
No, that one's. No,
Or
that
no,
one
it didn't
started in
start there.
Asia.
Yeah, you had the melody in Asia.
Yeah.
But we actually wrote the
Indonesia, right?
majority of it
We did
Yeah.
write the majority of it in Dallas.
in Dallas.
After watching the Travis Scott documentary.
Uh,
It's such a good documentary. But yeah, that one started in where was that Lazy River Hotel?
It was Jakarta, right?
Jakarta. Yeah, we started that one in
yeah.
Jakarta. I was listening to Takeaway, Lennon Stella,
Oh,
Chainsmokers, and I was like, oh, that hook was crazy. And that's where it started, and then we kind of just left it there. And then me, Joan, and Corbin finished that one in Dallas, like on the same tour, but like a month later or so when we were there.
does a song start with production for you, or is it starting with lyrics?
Usually some production, like some chords.
Some chords, melodies, typically first, and then
lyrics like after that.
yeah, we'd start with something that just catches your ear.
Mm-hmm.
Something where you're like, ooh, and then once you got that, now you got to dig into like, what is the song saying? What are you trying to say, and all that, and that typically follows.
So a song like Be Myself, did you already have the production done and then the story came, or did you do it all at once?
So I had, I actually, I had like this weird thing where I just had like a hunch that we had to make a song that we could do on tour with no, lights, production, anything, just us around a mic with guitars and our instruments, and just like very like Mumford and Sons style, just something so stripped down. And so that was like the idea going into it. And yeah, I just had like the, but that one, the lyrics actually came pretty in hand with the melodies. Cause the second I put that down, it felt very like in that vein, and I feel like that you can, if you just heard the music, you could feel that it would lean that way. Like that's typically how you decipher what to write about.
Okay, we're gonna go back to "I'll Be Okay." There's a moment where there's just like a voice memo in there, something about the sounding sick.
Oh,
yeah, at the end.
yeah.
That was in the studio. I think. What
That
did, you
wasn't
just did like an
planned.
ad lib
Yeah.
take or something,
Yeah.
and at the end he just goes, "Oh, that sounds sick," and we just decided to keep
We
it.
use
We
it
were
as
just
like,
like,
oh,
that's
that's hard.
that's dope. Let's keep that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we could just mess around and try things, We were like, oh, that's cool. All right, let's put it in. It's just music. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
It's just music.
It's just music.
Is that where the laugh at the beginning of "Look at Me" came from? Just playing around?
That's actually the Joker, Heath Ledger. That's like a sample from the movie. And he's like, look at me, and he's like laughing.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just random messing around. That was our mixer masterer guy, Jason Joshua. He
think
sauced that
Mike
one up.
actually-
Or was that Mike?
I think Mike Seberg, shout out.
Shout out Mike.
Boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was funny because we were trying to think of like an intro for the song before you go straight into just the bass line, doo-doo-doo. And Mike was like, he looked up "Look at Me" audio, and there was this video that was like 10 hours of "Look at Me," and like 2 minutes in, thank God it wasn't like 2 hours in, but 2 minutes in, the Joker popped up and was like, look, and we were like, oh my God, we need that. Put that in. Like, it was perfect for it.
I have in my notes "so sly and sexy." That was my takeaway from the record. It's
Glad that's
true.
what you got from
You
it.
should have heard the original song of that. There's a whole rap song over it.
Yeah. Well, we do this thing where when we're bored, sometimes on tour or just not on tour, we'll just make like the hardest rap song we can possibly make. Like it just sort of like removes the writer's block. So that beat came from one of those songs, and the beat was so good. We were like, we should try to like use this for something. And then "Look at Me" happened after that.
You guys said you wrote a song and then you didn't think it would be for you. You were thinking about pitching it to Five Sauce. What did that turn into?
That song, that was Love Song.
Love song.
Oh, you said that. Okay.
That was Love Song.
That
yeah.
was Love Song, yeah. We thought it was very in their vein, and then we were like, no,
Wait.
this is a White Homie song. And then
Yeah.
now we're coming out with it, so that's pretty nuts.
So whose story is that?
Well,
wrote
Daniel
it.
wrote it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could say it was my story.
It was his story.
Wouldn't you feel weird giving that song that I guess I would assume is very personal to you to another band?
No, I mean, if, music is meant to hopefully connect with more than just you. I think if a song only relates to you, you're doing something wrong. So, I mean, I think it would have been cool, but I'm glad that we decided to keep it.
I mean, like Julia Michaels wrote "Sorry" and gave it to Justin
Dude,
Bieber.
that was just in my head.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of trades going on for sure.
Too late now to say sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we kept that one because now it's one of my favorites.
So
But at the time, we were very in this place of, we're coming out with the songs that the label's bringing to us and that sort of thing. So we were like, I don't think this one's gonna come out, And then the day came where we finally were like, let's put our foot down and come out with this smash.
what song off this album best captures who each and every one of you are right now?
Whoa.
Oh man.
I'd say Love Song.
Which song?
Start off on topic.
I would say right now. For you.
Yeah, that's a good
For
one.
me.
I don't know. I feel like Lotus In for me. I feel like Lotus In is just like a happy song about just like meeting a girl and you're trying to get her and you never want the night to end, whatever, having a good time.
Which, by the way, I Googled Lotus Inn. It is a real motel near LAX. It looks
That's crazy.
It
We
is.
figured that out after we released it. We're like, oh,
We all go there.
don't stay there. Jonah, did you answer? I don't think so.
I didn't. I'm trying to think. I think "Stay." I love "Stay" so much. That one has been
Stay,
connecting
yeah.
with me lately.
your favorite one right now?
Yeah. It kind of
I
switches
vibe.
off though. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah,
my
answer,
mine's
Jack?
for sure. Look at me.
Yeah,
All the way.
Kind of connecting with look at me.
Yeah, look at me for sure.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Look at me.
Yeah, I'm connecting a lot with look at me.
Good Times and the Bad Ones. That is the album. There's a link in the description below. You
Yeah.
really should listen to it. It's a phenomenal body of work.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
What have you learned now that this album is done?
Oh.
Make music to just have fun and make music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing.
Don't try to, be someone else.
Don't think too much.
Yeah.
And if you have a goal, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
a dream, don't give up.
Yeah,
That's true.
And we've really gotten the chance to like come into our own with this album, and we really built up the confidence within ourselves to be able to do this, and it's been so fun just being actual like the actual center of the creation process has
Yeah.
been like that was the newest thing for us, and it's been so incredibly fun and
Validating.
it's super validating.
Yeah,
Just
Yeah.
live your
Ooh,
life. Like,
ooh,
don't
and-
take no for an
And
answer.
follow your
Just-
gut. I feel like
Yeah,
we
I
did a
feel
lot of
like
that.
we kind of just knew we should do this.
Yeah.
This is how we started before we were even in the band playing instruments. So now it's like it's just it needed to be done. You know?
You brought up Shawn Mendes once or twice. Do you think this album is going to change the way your peers see you?
I would hope so.
Yeah,
I would hope so. Yeah.
I mean, Daniel, it's very few people can write a song 100% on their own, and I'm pretty sure you have at least one where it's just you, right?
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Actually, he's got like
Couple,
two.
I think too.
Yeah.
Myself,
Yeah.
Love song.
There's a lot that aren't even
Again,
on
though,
there,
it's
man.
funny because if you asked me a year or two ago, could you write and produce a song, for the guys, I would be terrified and be like, no. More so just because people were telling us no and like you don't have what it takes and all this baloney. But I feel like we were like, how are we gonna let another human being, just another person, tell you, being just another human being, that you can't do what you want to do? Like,
Right.
obviously, we were born to make music to some extent. We can all sing and play instruments, like arrogance aside, but we all feel this gifting in music. So I don't know, for me, it was almost like, how am I going to take advice from, especially someone who's not, gifted in that way? How are they going to put me down and tell me I can't do it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in this business and just in people in general. Some people just don't want to see other people succeed. And I would just say, like, just go for it,
Well, in the 30 Days episode, Daniel, you were talking about how Fallen, I guess, didn't connect with the fans as much as you want. Why do you think that happened?
I think honestly a big portion of it was, we were gone for a long time, 9 months. And honestly, I was equally blown away by the fact that the fans stuck with us that long, because that's almost a year of waiting. That's a long time. And equally, I think that they, didn't expect such a different sound. And we didn't really have the time after COVID hit to explain fully who Why Don't We was and why the sound changed and all this stuff. We were on the same page with them before the 9 months of where we were at. And, we didn't really get to explain it fully. And I think now they're really starting to understand, how much we care about the music. But yeah, I mean, it was such a clutter of just like a tough season of, just dying to put out the music. And so the second we could, we threw Fallen out. But I wish, we had a moment to explain, I guess, where we were at.
I think also we should mention that we set our expectations really high. As a
Yeah,
band.
Fallen didn't.
So
it's,
Fallen has done very well for us, and we're super appreciative of the reaction and everything. But when we came out with it, we were like, oh, this is, our expectation was this is going to be our number one. This is going to be our huge debut. Like,
Yeah.
But Google's talking.
Google's tweaking out. Hold up.
But that was our first song to hit the Billboard Hot 100. It came in at number 37 on the Hot 100, which was crazy, and we were flipping out. We were like,
Hey Google,
self.
stop talking.
Sorry,
Fully
I
self-written,
cannot find any.
fully self-produced. It was just one of those things where we were like, oh my god, like our song is actually doing this. But I mean, our expectations are always really high, so I feel like we continuously don't meet our expectations because we set
Yeah.
them so high. But I think that's also kind of contributed to just our drive and like our dedication to just keep moving forward because there's a lot of boxes on our bucket list that we haven't checked off yet. And an equal amount, if not more, that we have checked off. But we're always looking at like what's next? What's next? How can we do better for our fans and for ourselves? And like
Well, after
Yeah.
you put out Fallen, you then did Lotus In and Slow Down. Were you happy with the reaction to those two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slow Down's my favorite music video we've shot.
Yeah.
Lotus In, I'm just dying to do live. That song is meant to be performed live, and that was like literally the whole motive behind Lotus In. But yeah, I mean, this whole album we've just been so excited to put out, and so now I think I'm really in the boat of I want them to hear the whole thing, you know. I think that's what's tough is this whole album is what really tells the fans the story that we were hoping they would already know when Fallen came out, you know. But I think they'll get it when they hear the whole thing. But I can't blame them, you know, for being a bit thrown off because we came out with, was it Chills before Fallen? Came out with Chills, totally different sound than Fallen, and then a year later came out with Fallen, and you know that's like it's a lot to swallow as a fan. It's very different, you know. But again, they came around, and you know that's not easy to do as a fan typically. So I, you know, really thankful that they did, you know, grow to love it.
The Good Times and the Bad Ones, that is the name of the album. You got to listen to it. There's a link in the description below. And personally, in my opinion, I think you have positioned yourself with this new album perfectly to feed those who have been with you from the very beginning, but also bring on a bunch of new people that weren't there before. So bravo. Just keep making art that's true to you. It hits different and it's really awesome. It sounds really great and you should
I
be
love you.
forever proud. I do love you
Thanks,
too.
man.
And
Thank you, bro.
yeah, y'all are superstars.
Jack, I had a
Thank you
question.
so much.
What's up, bro?
Is there a reason you're the only one wearing black on the album cover?
Oh, is he?
It's kind of like the ugly duckling effect.
Black sheep. Really?
Yeah, the black sheep thing.
I don't know. I just decided to look the freshest that day.
Okay.
We'll leave it up to the fans, I guess.
That's the
Yeah, I
problem.
guess so.
You guys, so
Yeah.
I thought too much into it, and I thought maybe everyone's wearing white, Jack's wearing black. You mix it together, you get gray. I thought it was a representation of the song "Gray."
Oh,
Sure. Hey,
That's
we're gonna go
actually-
with that for now.
damn!
Exactly what we thought.
You're right.
Yeah, so from the
Yeah.
jump when
You
we
were deep in
started
your thoughts,
Gray.
though, man.
How did you know, bro?
I don't know. I guess I just figured it out.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So good.
So usually, you put out an album or a project, you get ready to go on tour. What do you guys do now?
Make
Get back
more
in the
music.
studio.
We go home and cry.
Maybe a virtual concert, hopefully. Or, I don't know, man.
Yeah, we're thinking about a
We're,
virtual show.
we're dying to get on the road, so we'll see.
Just nothing
At
is the same.
time, the virtual show is not the same.
I will say we got more music. You know, this is the start of something new. And
is
then-
You're so right.
it's not like we're gonna make this album and disappear again. You know, this is just the start.
This is our baby, and to some extent too, we're kind of mentally treating this album almost like a debut album.
Yeah.
Because it is the start of something new for us. You know, no pun intended. Nah, actually pun intended.
Yeah,
But
take it.
Yeah, that was a good.
yeah, so I think it's only up from here, and I think we found our sound for the time being, and I think we've really done a lot of like exploring sonically and just within ourselves, and so for us it's only up from here, and we're just ready to take our fans with us and
On the ups.
write some more great music.
I also think just like longevity wise, it's a good move. Like, I think people think of boy bands and they're like, oh, there'll be a thing for 4 or 5 years and then that'll be that and it's a whole thing. So I feel like with us actually making the music and writing the songs and producing it and playing instruments on stage and that kind of a thing, it's not so much like manufactured by the whole machine that is the music industry and then they decide when we're done. It's like more like, no, we can make it, you know what I mean? Like we're doing it and Yeah, I don't know. I think fans will feel that, and we'll be around 10 years from now. You know
Well,
what I mean?
that I was gonna ask about that. So, you guys have been labeled a boy band. We've joked about the man band thing in the past, but at what point do you guys just become a band if you're a bunch of guys on stage playing instruments?
I don't think now it's necessarily about not being a boy band and shoving that aside.
We
in our
are a boy
heads-
band, let's
In our
just-
heads, it was that for a while because of just what was not whispered in our ears, but the conversations you have with the people of the industry, and kind of like what Jonah was saying, the whole shelf life of a boy band and, the connotation around the word boy band. We were like, we don't want to be labeled as this one single thing. But I think there's also something like we can't deny the fact that we're 5 guys in a band.
Dude, I love being in a boy band. Are you kidding me?
If anything,
I would never get a girl if I'd say I was in a boy band.
If anything, I think our goal now would be to just take that, whatever negative connotation some people have around that term, I hope we can take it and give it a new light.
Change it, yeah.
For bands now and bands in the future,
So
And
perceptions
just
are going to
love-
change the second y'all are behind instruments, and actually performing.
Yeah, and we just I don't know, we don't want to. I think there's this weird roboticness that comes with like boy band, and
Yeah.
we're like, we are a boy band, but we're not gonna. We do love music, and we want to make the music we love to make. We don't want to just like go for the here's the boy band package deal.
The good times and the bad ones. Why don't we? I appreciate you guys taking the time and hanging out.
Yeah.
The link in the description below. Please listen to the album. It's a treat for your ears.
Hey, I like that. I like the way that you put that.
Hopefully,
Thank you so much.
next album it's in person. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know,
please.
dude.
Yeah.
We gotta figure that out.
I
Yeah.
just want to see
This
your cute
world-
face on behind the
Ugh.
desk,
I know. dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
You have a nice couch there, but it's not the same as mine.
no, not
The
even
couch
close.
is sitting in the kitchen.
No pillows or nothing.
I know, yeah.
Sorry.
Fucking is
That
lacking.
cat pillow that you have.
Well, congratulations to each and every one of you on this release. You should be very, very proud.
Thank you
Hey,
so much.
thanks so
Zach.
much, man.
Thank you
And,
for your support, man. You've always shown us. And just-
Always, forever and always. And yeah, it's very cool to hear those songs from that day in Memphis come to life like this. It's
Oh, dude, that day was a day.
Yeah.
it was a day.
was
What a day.
Hey, love and appreciate you guys. Have a great day and a great release week.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks so
Zach,
much.
too.
brother.
Thanks
Hey,
for having
guys.
us on the
Peace
show,
out,
y'all.
Dan.
Anytime. Hey, beautiful human. Thanks for watching our full interview, but I get it. Like, a full interview is a lot. So we got a clips channel. We don't expect you to watch the full thing anymore, so we just gave you the highlights. Please subscribe and notifications and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I love you.